Today is a holiday in Canada, and that holiday is Family Day. In honor of that, I am excited to give you some recommendations for books about families, multi-generational sagas, stories that you can really sink your teeth into. I personally feel like really interesting families and family history often make up some of my favorite stories, so I am excited to share some with you. I have some contemporary fiction recommendations, some historical fiction recommendations, and maybe even a few about found family at the end. Let's first go through some historical fiction recommendations. First up is the Daughters of War trilogy by Dinah Jeffries. This book starts in occupied France during World War II, but the subsequent books journey from England to Malta to Morocco and beyond. The first one is Daughters of War, second is The Hidden Palace, and third is Night Train to Marrakesh. Another epic family saga that I highly recommend is the Deverell series. I only own this one, but this is the fifth in a 5-book series by Santa Montefiore, and it follows the history of a really eccentric noble family in Ireland, and there is some magical realism as well. Another book by Santa Montefiore that I highly recommend is The Beekeeper's Daughter. This takes place between England and the US across the 20th century. Next is Genevieve Graham's book, Letters Across the Sea. This takes place largely in Toronto during the Great Depression and World War II, and there are parts of it that also take place in Hong Kong during the war. Next is The Covenant of Water by Abraham Verghese. I just read this one. It is the definition of a sweeping, multi-generational family saga. It takes place entirely in India throughout most of the 20th century. I also recommend The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. This follows one woman and one family in particular during the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl in Texas and into California. Next is Buckeye by Patrick Ryan. This is another multi-generational family saga. It takes place in Ohio. It starts during World War II and then carries on for several decades throughout the Vietnam War and beyond. I also have 3 contemporary fiction books to recommend if you're interested in family drama but want it to be more current. First is The Life Cycle of the Common Octopus by Emma Knight. Next is These Summer Storms by Sarah MacLean. And third is The Irish Goodbye by Heather Amy O'Neill. And finally, I have a few last recommendations for you if you're looking for stories about found family, which obviously can be just as impactful as biological family. The first is My Friends by Fredrik Backman. This is a contemporary fiction book set in Sweden, and it's just a really beautifully written book and beautiful story. Next is The Briar Club by Kate Quinn. This is a historical fiction book taking place in Washington, D.C. at an all-female boarding house during the McCarthy era in the 1950s. And lastly, a historical fiction series that it largely takes place during World War II, but also extends beyond the end of the war. This is the Red Cross Orphan series by Glynis Peters, and the books are The Red Cross Orphans, The Orphan's Letters, The Orphan's Homecoming, and The Orphan's Last Goodbye. So those are my family and found family recommendations. Let me know what you think.